I mean, I've been working at Ealing for, gosh, 14 years now. I can't believe it's been that long, but it has been a great journey. But I think probably one of the things that I'd say the most on in terms of a real wish list for Ealing is sort of I think we've got a really, really clear and good vision for Ealing, but I want to take that further. I want to take that, sort of really move that on. We've done a fantastic job at delivering new housing in Ealing, and I think we've really moved forward on that with our housing delivery company that is now putting the council at the forefront of delivering housing, not just relying on the private sector. But where I think we need to do some more work is around our economic strategy and our jobs and business growth, particularly in this sort of climate. So that's where I'm putting a lot of focus at the moment. And I think what I want to see for Ealing is that Ealing is not. So one of the things that I've always thought about Crossrail, for example, is that Crossrail is going to be is going to be a real game changer for London, and certainly for a borough like Ealing. But what we must guard against is that it doesn't just become something that commuters can jump onto and move into central London if we ever get back to that normality, but that it brings people into Ealing to work, to visit, and to really boost the economy. So in order to do that, developing this strategy and vision around economic growth, creating places where new businesses can locate, and create new jobs in Ealing. And the reason that I'm so I think that's so important for Ealing is because jobs create opportunities for people. They create particularly opportunities for young people, and gives people something that they know they can work towards in their local area. And I think that having a job is one of the absolutely key foundations for a great start in life. So I'm really passionate about creating that buzzing, vibrant economy in Ealing that works and is underpinned by a whole variety of different businesses who can create that economic wealth and jobs that then affect people's lives and improve people's lives. So I think that's sort of one of the really key things that I want to see happen in Ealing and are working towards.
What's in your power to do that can make that happen?
So probably something that will come as a bit of a theme through this, but and that's the real challenge for a local authority in terms of our power. I mean, the toolbox that we've got is a range of things around the creation of policy. So we are the planning authority. We can create policies that steer and guide economic development. We can designate land. Taking our steer from the Mayor of London as well, so we can have quite considerable influence on what gets located where, on paper. But of course, then making that happen and making something actually come out of the ground is a whole different thing, because the council in the main doesn't have the money to do that. Very occasionally we get a great grant from government or somewhere else, not from Europe anymore. So the council in the main is reliant on others to deliver that. So it's all about where can we influence other public sector providers, where can we influence the private sector in particular. So again, that's what I spend quite a lot of my time doing, is meeting and talking with the private sector to talk about what's important in Ealing and to influence how what people may come to do in Ealing and to invest in Ealing. We do have a bit of direct ability to affect things through our own land. The council, like many other public sector stakeholders, is a landowner, but again, finding the capital money to make something happen on that land is another challenge as well. But really our toolbox is mainly around influence.
And if there's a new emphasis on this sort of economic development side of what you're trying to achieve, does that mean that there are new approaches to the way that you're designating land use in Ealing? And how
Yeah.
could you sort of illustrate or describe that for viewers?
So what we're looking really closely at is, to use the technical term, the Ealing has quite a lot of strategic industrial land, and many will know that there's been lots of conversations about how are those swathes of land intensified, and across London. It's not just a challenge for Ealing. So I think that's one of the things that we are really focusing on, is how can we promote that we are up for the intensification of those areas, and often that may involve completely remodeling areas, and thinking about what else might need to sit alongside those industrial areas. So certainly Ealing isn't a borough that says, oh, that's, you know, been coloured in orange or whatever colour you colour in strategic industrial land and nothing else can go there apart from industry. We recognise that industry needs other things to complement it, and in some cases there may be land currently designated in strategic industrial land that is suitable for housing or mixed use development, but certainly those complementary things that enable businesses to function better, hotels and the retail and restaurants and all of those things that, as I say, complement business growth. We're looking to really think about those in that context of strategic industrial land, but as I said, to remodel things as well. So particular areas, we're working with Old Oak and Park Royal Development Corporation to look at how we might remodel part of Park Royal, and particularly in our borough around North Acton, the Central Line tube station, where there's huge capacity for mixed use development. We're looking at Northolt, which is sort of in the western part of our borough, and I think that's an area that could be quite significantly remodelled with quite a lot of opportunity. So the groundwork that we can do there is helping to set up that longer term vision around more jobs, more business growth, and more housing, and that whole creation of a better place.
And can we just reverse very slightly to what you were saying about housing, just to finish this section off? Broadway Living has gone through a sort of change of status. What can you tell us about that? What are you able to say publicly now? And what role is Broadway Living playing in delivering the overall targets for housing in Ealing?
Okay, so Broadway Living's been on a bit of a journey. I think we've had it's been in existence for 6 years, and we were one of the first boroughs to set up our own housing delivery company. But what's really been sort of moved Broadway Living forward is the GLA grant that we secured of over £100 million, and a really comprehensive look at some of our own council-owned sites and the council's willingness to put those sites into a package for Broadway Living to develop on behalf of the council. So we have land, we have funding. The council very recently agreed to lend Broadway Living over £300 million. So we've got the GLA grant and the council funding, and we've got a number of sites ready to put into the package. So we're really at the stage now where Broadway Living is ready to go. We've registered as a registered provider as well. So we have Broadway Living RP and Broadway Living. So we've got the structure to take forward all of that. And we're starting to recruit staff into that as well. So it's on the verge of really taking off, and we have an aspiration for over 500 homes to be built every year over the next 5 years. So a real big player for us in terms of direct council influence and delivery.
And what proportion of your overall targets is that 500?
So our targets, as has happened across all of London, have recently been changed through the London plan. That's just almost of our overall target of all housing. So that's a really big proportion for the council to be delivering. Yeah.